The time or period for liberation mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter is Uttarayana and daytime. If some devotee leave their body not in the time of Uttarayana, then what happens to them? So in the Bhagavad Gita in the 8th chapter, Krishna gives a list of times where a yogi, when he leaves his body, what happens to him? There are specific times, Uttarayana, daytime, those kind of things. That means where the time of light, when if somebody leaves his body, then he can attain liberation. And those who leave during the Amavasya, during Dakshinayana, during the time of darkness, they have to come back to this world of repeated birth and death. Which are those verses? 8.23. Yeah. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world one does or does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god Agnidev in the light at an auspicious moment during the fortnight of the waxing moon, that means during the Shukla Paksha, and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north, Uttarayana. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the dark moon fortnight, that is the Krishna Paksha, or in the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, Dakshinayana, or who reaches the moon planet, again comes back. So, according to the Vedas, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. This is for those who are yogis, those who are practicing the path of Ashtanga Yoga. When it comes to devotees, those who are practicing devotional service, after Krishna concludes this, Krishna says, Naite sriti partha janan yogi muhyati kasyana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarduna. The devotees who know these 2 paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered, therefore be always fixed in devotion. Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punyam phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam vaiti chadyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. At the end, he reaches the supreme abode. So, Krishna is making a distinction here. And another thing, at the beginning of the 8th chapter, in the 5th verse, Krishna says, Anta kalechu mameva smaran mutva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha. And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. That means Krishna is making a distinction. In the later verses, 23 onwards, Krishna is talking of passing away during Uttarayana, Dakshinayana, and all those kind of things. Whereas in the beginning, Krishna, without any condition, said if somebody quits his body, somebody at the moment of death, he remembers Krishna and then dies, then he at once is liberated. So, who can remember Krishna at the time of death? One who has practiced Bhakti Yoga, one who has practiced the devotional service to Krishna can remember Krishna at the point of death. Isn't it? This is natural. If I am a devotee of, say, Lord Shiva, then I cannot remember Krishna at the time of death. Only if I practice devotional service to Krishna, then I can remember Krishna at the time of death. If I have practiced Jnana Yoga, or if I practice Karma Yoga, or if I practice Ashtanga Yoga, I cannot remember Krishna at the time of death. Only when I render Bhakti Yoga, I can remember Krishna. And Krishna says, if you have rendered Bhakti Yoga, if you remember me at the time of death, no condition, you are back to God. But if you are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, Then so many conditions you have to fulfill. It has to be Uttarayana, Shukla Paksha, during the daytime. All these conditions have to be met. Then you can attain liberation. Actually, Krishna in this chapter, what he is doing is he is establishing the greatness of bhakti. Bhakti yoga, how it is superior when compared to the process of Ashtanga yoga. That's what Krishna is establishing. That's why in the beginning Krishna spoke of devotional service, beginning of the 8th chapter. If you render devotional service to me and remember me, remember Krishna at the time of death, immediately liberated. But if you are not a devotee, you are practicing Ashtanga yoga, then what is the solution for you? Then if you are practicing Ashtanga yoga, you are not practicing Bhakti yoga, then you have to look at Uttarayana, you have to look at Shukla Paksha, you have to look at all these conditions you fulfill, then you can become liberated. Krishna is giving an opportunity for even them to get liberated. And that's why at the end Krishna is again saying, a person who accepts the path of devotional service, because somebody may see that somebody is performing Bhakti yoga, what is he doing? Getting up early in the morning, singing and dancing. That's all he is doing. And afternoon nicely feasting. So, if you compare it with an Ashtanga yogi, goes to the forest, practices brahmacharya, and he undergoes so much tapasya, he is engaged in samadhi, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, all these processes he is following. It appears that the Ashtanga yogi is performing wonderful austerities, tapasya, so he must be more advanced. That is the general feeling that we get. But Krishna is saying, when you look at a devotee, when he is performing Bhakti yoga, he may not be performing so much of tapasya like the Ashtanga yogi. He may not be giving up everything. He may not be taking sannyasa and going to the forest. He may be a grahastha. He may not even be following the path of a brahmachari or a sannyasi. He may not be sitting in dhyana all the time. All these things you don't see devotees doing. If you come to our temples, you don't see any devotee sitting and doing pranayama, doing samadhi, dhyana. You don't find anybody doing, isn't it? Now, somebody when he sees this, he may think, oh, these people are all sentimentalists. These devotees, bhakti, these bhaktas, they are all sentimentalists. Look at Ashtanga yogis, so much tapasya they are doing. Or look at jnana yogis, so much intense study of the Vedic scriptures they are doing. They are studying Vedanta Sutra, they are studying Upanishads, great scholars, pandits in Sanskrit. All bhaktas, what are they? They are bachas in front of them. That's one might have that kind of misconception. Therefore, Krishna is saying, a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. At the end, he reaches the supreme abode. If one is practicing Bhakti Yoga, apparently it appears inferior, but actually Bhakti Yoga is the most superior process. Because if you perform Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is saying your Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasya, Yajna, Dana, everything is covered if you engage in devotional service. Therefore, this 8th chapter is a glorification of devotional service in comparison to other yogic processes, especially Ashtanga Yoga. So therefore, to answer the question, the time of liberation which is mentioned in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is for the Ashtanga yogis, not for Bhakti yogis. Bhakti yogis can quit their body at any point of time. If they remember in Krishna, it doesn't matter what point of time, whether it is Dakshinayana, Uttarayana, Krishna Paksha, Shukla Paksha, Amavasya, Purnima, nothing matters. You remember Krishna, you remembered Krishna and quit the body, you are going back to God. That is what Krishna says in the beginning of the 8th chapter, which is the 5th verse, I think. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsyaha. And whoever at the time of death quits his body remembering me alone, that's the key point. One who quits his body remembering Krishna alone, not anybody else, at once attains Krishna's nature. Of this there is no doubt. So this is a glorification of the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is transcendental and which is superior to all other yogic processes. Okay.